I just, while I appreciate the sponsor's insight into the repeal, and I understand by reading the court documents its ruling, I still have grave concerns over the 100-foot rule. Because again, when you're walking through the voting process, I still think by not having anything that speaks to how to conduct yourself in a line warming situation, you are, in fact, going to be putting voters, you're going to be putting volunteers, and you're going to be putting election workers into precarious situations. Precarious situations that they may or may not have the proper training or knowledge to understand or properly enforce the law. And so while I recognize, I think we all do, that when you have long lines, as we've seen in the past, in 2020 specifically during the pandemic, we saw those very long early voting lines. There is something to be said, though, about making sure that we have laws in place that speak to these situations. And I don't think a full repeal, while again I understand what we're doing here from the court's perspective, I do think that there were instances in the past where we were trying to work towards a better solution. And so we are, again, putting ourselves and putting many others who are involved in the election process in a situation with regards to the 100-foot rule. And I frankly think that we should be more specific when it comes to the 100-foot rule to make sure that there is clarity in the law, to make sure that the Board of Elections understands what we as legislators and the legislative body expects them to train our capable election inspectors, and beyond that, to our volunteers, to our not-for-profits, to our candidates as well. By being silent doesn't really help the situation. And while I think we all, again, recognize, yes, in those situations when there are long lines, I think it's just common sense that we should be able to provide water or snacks to those who are exercising their right to vote. But let's make sure we're doing it in the right way. And being silent on these types of steps that are taken during that voting process, I think provides too much ambiguity. And again, I do have grave concerns over the impact that it will have on that 100-foot rule, which I think is critically important for our election process. And so with that, I appreciate the time by the sponsor, and Madam Speaker, and thank you very much for letting me ask my questions.